happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell that it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely going to want to check this one out. So we got a massive backfire coming for an activist judge who was just caught colluding with the ACLU to block Trump's deportation efforts, guys. And I'm excited to get to this one, so we're not straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's get straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
From using those powers. Is this a correct contention, Julie?
Yes, it absolutely is. And I actually quote everyone from Jeb Bossberg to the Supreme Court to Judge Hendricks in this Northern Texas case, who concede the judiciary's very limited role in even overseeing the execution of what he has determined, this TDA, that they are alien enemies, that they are tied to regime, that this Maduro regime, that it has constituted an invasion, a predatory incursion into our country. Benny, how can you look at the statistics? How can you look at real-time things that are happening on the ground? I know that the Department of Justice announced charges with several, I think more than 24 TDA members just this week. How can any judge refute or dispute the fact that this has been an incursion and an invasion by a hostile nation, sending millions of these, or at least 500,000, mostly men, into our country? Yet you have a Colorado judge, Charlotte Sweeney, yesterday. She's been a judge for less than 3 years. She has no experience in immigration, really no experience in the government. She's a DEI hire, LGBTQ judge, Biden appointee, who not only set requirements for the Trump administration in terms of notifying these Alien Enemies Act subjects, but also questioning and refuting the president's definition of this as an invasion and predatory incursion. Who the hell do these judges think that they are? No one elected Charlotte Sweeney. No one elected Jeb Bossberg. No one elected any of these judges, and certainly the Supreme Court justices, who are not just sabotaging Trump's top domestic and really foreign policy agenda, but thwarting and sabotaging the will of the American people, who in large part elected Donald Trump for two reasons: to fix the economy and to fix our broken immigration system.
I need you to unpack two quick things for me. The 7-2 decision in the Supreme Court saying that Trump can no longer use the Alien Enemies Act. How is that even remotely standing? And I thought we had a conservative court. I thought we had a Clarence Thomas court. So I can understand Ketanji Brown Jackson, right, with her helmet level low IQ, like saying that, but like you had a number of conservative, like Gorsuch sided with him. What is going on? What happened there, Julie?
So what happened was, within a matter of a few days, and this happened over last weekend, so holiday weekend, of course, for most Americans. And as this ACLU, as it continues to do, quickly file these lawsuits demanding a decision by these judges, filing emergency temporary restraining order motions, demanding that these judges act quickly. The judge actually did, again, James Hendricks, act very quickly, but he denied their motion to turn this into a class-wide injunction, which the judges have been doing all over the place. They quickly, then the ACLU went to the appellate court above Judge Hendricks. The appellate court upheld Judge Hendricks, said, you basically gave the judge 42 minutes to decide before you filed an appeal before our court. And then they went up to the Supreme Court asking for relief, which the Supreme Court did at about 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, April 19th. And what they did in this case is prohibit what they called the putative class, because the class action designation hadn't even been made. It had been denied by the judge, but he was still setting hearings. He was still setting deadlines for responses. So he was advancing this as quickly as he could. Wasn't good enough, went to the Supreme Court, and that's where they got the relief, 7-2. for now at least, prohibiting the deportation of these Alien Enemies Act subjects in northern Texas. So I really encourage everyone to read Samuel Alito's dissent. He goes through many bullet points as to why the Supreme Court overstepped their boundaries, the sort of precedent that now this is setting. He was only joined by Clarence Thomas, but his dissent really is important. Now you have the ACLU and the Trump administration has responded to the Supreme Court, but they have not said anything since the Saturday morning ruling.
Taking this to its logical conclusion, if you were to discover the September 11th hijackers were here and were doing flight training, and you say, these guys have ties to terrorist organizations, they're here for nefarious purposes, we're going to send them home, the president couldn't do that. The president could easily be blocked by any judge in the country to say the 9/11 hijackers, they're going to stay. We're just going to make sure that they, get through airport security. Am I reading this out correctly? Am I reading China attacks America and the president is immediately enjoined in his military response to this? There is no more presidential power then, right?
Right. I mean, that is exactly what these judges are establishing. And again, some of them have questioned that. And that is what James Hendricks did the other day. And he really cautioned and said, look, this is an area where the courts have really never interceded. This is a political branch decision, meeting, of course, the president, and then authorization by Congress on these issues. And he very strongly said, this is really not a road that we want to go down, which is why he did deny that classified designation for all the AEA subjects in his jurisdiction. So he has really said the strongest, but the Supreme Court has admitted limited, as they called it, limited judicial review of the enactment of the Alien Enemies Act. So, but now that the Supreme Court stepped in, we got what we saw yesterday by Judge Charlotte Sweeney, ordering the Trump administration to give these subjects a 21-day notice, letting them know that they are entitled to representation, giving the notice to them in the language that they speak, because of course none of them speak English, and setting up an entirely new due process rights for these illegals who are suspected terrorists who are here to do Americans harm and threaten the security of this country. Truly shame on all of the judges who have put their imprimatur on this, especially the 7 U.S. Supreme Court justices who did that over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like this turn of phrase, but Gorsuch is from he's from Colorado. He was a Colorado judge, and so with Tren de Aragua and what they're doing in Colorado, I mean, we've all seen the articles. This is literal blood on his hands. I just can't believe that he would make this ruling, and then Colorado being the first place to say we're going to protect these people. Very quickly, if one president can import millions of voters for his party, and then the next president can't deport them, you're less than a generation from losing the entire republic, right?
Well, here's what I think is just another disturbing angle of all of this, is that the court's setting up where they have to have individualized trials for all of the 8 to 10 million who have recently crossed the border. That is what they're setting up. If you cannot take even this small chunk of illegals who pose probably the greatest threat to American citizens and families, if you can't take this chunk and say, yeah, this makes sense. Okay, you have 500,000 Venezuelans illegally enter the country under the Biden regime. Most of them are young men. We could see that their ties to TDA, they're bragging about it. We have data that shows footholds in cities and suburbs across the country. We see the crime statistics. We hear the horror stories. We know that this is happening. So we're not going to pretend that these people, these illegals, potential criminals, are entitled to the same due process rights, or to your point, better due process rights than we saw for American citizens in the January 6th persecution. So yes, if you can't just watch, we see millions of them crossing the border under the Biden regime with no relief whatsoever. If we can't summarily take big chunks of these illegals, deport, put them back in their countries, you want to come here, you do it the right way. But this was the wrong way to do it. and now setting up these special privileges for illegals. I mean, this is extremely dangerous and disheartening to see the courts doing this.
Hang your head in a bag, John Roberts, again and again and again. Perhaps like the worst Supreme Court pick in our lifetime.
Oh, I don't know. In our lifetime, let's see. I mean, I think the women on there are pretty bad. But you mean from our side? It's pretty hard to think of somebody who could have overseen this court and really betrayed the people who put him or supported him or his beliefs that he stated, John Roberts, and to see him really play politics with this court at a time when we need strong leadership, defense of the Constitution, defense of the liberties and safety of the American people.
Yo, there we have it, guys. That one coming from our friend Benny Johnson. I'll definitely be sure to leave that original video link down in the description box below. For those who want to go over there, check that entire thing out. Also, for you guys to go over there and show our friend tons of love and support because he's a great guy. Oh my goodness, guys, we're seeing these federal judges continue to destroy the fabric of the country that we know and love. Makes no sense. They want to keep going up to bat and defending these folks that came into our country legally. They're saying that, you know, they're not criminals. These folks are not gang members. I don't care. They are criminals because they committed a crime as soon as they came across our border illegally. I mean, that's a crime right there, a criminal offense. You're saying that these folks aren't criminals, but they are. There's a process in place. You know, there's tons of folks that are waiting in line to get access, get their visas into our country, and they're seeing these folks. They're just as upset as the Americans. You know, they're like, what the heck? These folks, think about it. You're waiting in line all this time to get into the this great nation, United States of America, and then you see folks just hopping board, and not even hop, just walking across the border into underneath Joe Biden's administration. Look how many folks cut the line and came into our country. Now that Trump's got a hold of the wheel, his administration's in office, look what they're doing to us. They're saying that now we got all these activist judges stepping in the way, saying, oh no, I don't like the way that you're deporting these folks. Let's go back and put all these folks on trial. Let's delay the process a little bit further. That makes no sense to me. If you came in here, you cut the line, now you're asking for a single file line on the way back. Can you put us on line and due process is what they're arguing? This narrative is really starting to drive me crazy. It grinds my gears to see these loonies on the left, you know, try to get in the way or stop the process what Trump administration is trying to carry out. Cleaning up, doing a clean sweep for our country, making America great again, making America safe again. I mean, this is exactly what we voted. He ran and campaigned on this. We voted him in for it. And now we have these activist judges stepping the way and saying, no, we don't care what you're voting to do. You're going to do things our way or it's going to be the highway. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm still one of those folks in favor of holding Joe Biden, no slow Biden, accountable for endangering the citizens of his country. I stand with Donald Trump, his agenda, what he's carrying out, guys. Definitely hop in the comment section. Comments are open. I'm excited to hear what you guys are thinking about this one. Also, make sure you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you did enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next week.